Hi, it's me, Daphne, and welcome to today's video. I heard that they released the top 20-ish picks for the Goodreads Choice Awards. Last year, I barely read any of them. My goal was to read more new releases this year, but I don't know how well that went. I know I did read some 2024 releases that I really enjoyed, but I don't know if they're gonna be on this list. I hope they are. So let's blind react. We've got fiction up. Let's see what I know about any of these books. The first one I see is The Wedding People. This is a book of the month pick, I'm pretty sure, because I remember them doing like the cool picture mimicking this cover. Don't know anything about it. Margot's Got Money Troubles. Blue Sisters I saw floating around a lot. Didn't read that. I don't read a lot of just like standard fiction, so not surprised. Let's just keep going. Leanne Moriarty is an author. I know their name, but I've never read any of their books. Swan Song, Ellen Hilderbrand. I remember seeing that book floating around, didn't read. Sally Rooney's Intermezzo. I'm not surprised that's on there. That makes a lot of sense. She's a very beloved author. I really want to get into her books. I still need to read Normal People to kick that off. I was hoping I would have done it this year, but I haven't. I wasn't gonna buy her new book until I'd read her OG books. Not off to a good start, but you know, whatever. Historical fiction. Okay, definitely haven't read that many historicals. And new releases, oh God. But let's just, you know what, we'll not look at it like, oh, has Daphne read them? We'll just look at them and react in general and be like, oh, maybe that would be a good book to pick up. Maybe we're interested in that. And it just puts books that are popular that maybe aren't in our circle of knowledge on our radar. So it's all positive things, okay, right? So let's see what's popular in historical fiction. Oh, The Women. Okay. Didn't read it, but I own it because Tori absolutely loves this book, so I had to pick it up off her recommendation. Oh, The Lion Women of Tehran. I own that book too. I picked both of these up from Book of the Month. This book intrigued me because I wanted to learn more about this culture. And I'm excited to get to it. I just haven't been prioritizing my physical books. So shame, but it makes me that much more excited to pick it up now that I know people really enjoy it. Oh, okay, I also own The Bullet Swallower. This is like a Mexican, I believe, historical fiction about like cowboy vibes. I almost picked that one up when I was reading my orange books. The rest I don't know, but I know Jodi Picoult as an author. Like I know of her. I have one of her books. Interesting. Let's move on to the next one. We've got mystery and thriller. I definitely haven't read many of those. Middle of the Night. I know Sam hated that book. Pretty sure she really didn't like that. Okay, and then I have The Boyfriend. I just picked that up last month from Book of the Month. I know Jackie from First Lady Reads. I'll link her channel down below. She's a riot. She cracks me up. I think she's so funny. She read that and really enjoyed it. But then I know Tori and Jess, the romance girly duo, read it, and I think Tori hated it. They did like a podcast episode on it, but I'm not gonna watch it until after I read the book myself. I'll be interested to see how I fall in the spectrum of like liking it or not, because I haven't read a Frida McFadden before, but I know she's very popular. The God of the Woods is another book that I own. I think these get shelved a lot because Book of the Month has so much sway over what people are picking up, and I got this from Book of the Month as well. It's a chunky one. Definitely mystery vibes where like somebody died in the woods or something and then there's like a camp or something. I don't really know. Look, another Frida McFadden, The Teacher. She put out 2 books in 1 year? What? We Solve Murders. I've seen that one. I actually went to Barnes & Noble here in the city. They had a bunch of these and one of them was signed, or at least like the one I opened. I just opened the top one. It was signed by him. I haven't read any Richard Osman, so I didn't like feel the need to get a signed edition, but it just made me think of Meg with Books because she loves his other series. And those are all the books that I recognize. So let's move on. So we've got romance next. Carly Fortune. I own one of her books in my Kindle because I was gonna read it with one of my old college friends because she had a book club with her high school friends, but it didn't really work out. And I wasn't really liking the book and like the first book in this series anyway, so I didn't get very far in it. How to End a Love Story. I also own this one. I have such an opportunity to like try to catch up on these books. God, it's like end of the year content. Like, what do? I don't know. It's so hard, but I own so many of these and I don't read them. Daydream, I saw in the bookstores, like this looks adorable. I think this is a part of that Icebreakers series. The Love of My Afterlife sounds funny too, but not something that I needed to like purchase myself. Plus I get a bit of an anxiety when I'm like, how is this logistically gonna work when like the character died? Like, is she gonna get a second chance to like be alive again? Don't really know how that works. King of Sloth. I should really give Anna Wong another try. I read one of her books, like the first book in that other series. I think it was like Something Lies or something. I don't remember. It was blue writing maybe. I really did not like it. But everybody's obsessed with her, so I'm like, maybe it was just like the tropes in that book or like my expectations. I don't know. I just didn't vibe. But I want to be one of those girlies that like her, so I don't know. Maybe one of these days. Ooh, Play Along by Liz Tom Ford. I read the first book in this series. I forget what it was called. I don't know why this one's not numbered. I read Mile High and I had fun with it. It was just super long, like so long, but definitely a series I want to continue. Cinnamon Bun Bookstore doesn't surprise me because everybody was obsessed with the first book in that series this fall, which was the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I did not jump on that bandwagon. I have so many other things I need to read. Oh my God, This Could Be Us. This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan is on the list, and I own that book too, and I haven't read it yet because I'm a terrible person. Why am I like this? Jesus, I need to read that book. I physically own it and I haven't read it yet. Gosh, my Kindle has a chokehold on me. Maybe I'll read it before the end of the year because this is shaming me now. I should read this one. Wild Love I own. I'm almost done catching up on Elsie Silver's backlist. I think I have one more in her second series to read before I can get onto this one. So I am very excited. I don't feel bad about not getting to this one yet because I've read like 5 of this author's books so far this year already, which is a lot and pretty impressive. Leather and Lark, I own the first book in the series, so not gonna read the second one or buy it until I read the first one. Funny Story is actually a funny story because I'm pretty sure the main character in this book's name is Daphne. Yep, and she spells it the same way as me. And I just got this out from the library. Yep. I should read this. I should read this now that the hold has come in. 8 people are waiting for it. 8 people! Just for the summer. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. It is the first one I've actually read. I read a book on the list. Yeah. So I only got to this one because I binged the series. I need to binge more series. That is so effective for me. Enjoyed this one well enough. I think I probably gave it like a 3, 3.5. Abby Jimenez is a little bit lighter on the spice where I like my stuff spicy, but it was okay. My favorite one in this series is the second one with the 2 doctors. Absolutely love that one. 5 stars. The main character was so adorable, the guy, and I loved how relatable the female main character was for me personally. This one, the girl character, she was just like so emotionally unavailable. And I did not find her relatable at all because I'm so emotionally available. I am only emotions. Allie Hazelwood, I haven't tried another one of her books since her first one came out, which was what, The Love Hypothesis. But I picked up Bride at the thrift store a while back for like 50 cents. So I definitely want to get to that. And speaking of that, it's right here on the list. I haven't read it, but I own it in a physical copy and I should read it. I'm not that bad because I'm like following the trend a little bit. I have the new releases. I just don't read them in the year that they come out. I catch up. I am definitely like a backlist reader. A Love Song for Ricky Wilde. I haven't read, but it's on my radar because I really liked this author's other book, 7 Days in June. That really like ripped my heart out. Not the most typical romance, more of a heart-wrenching fiction that involves 2 people who are in love and then like it's a romance. Because you know, it ends happily, but it's like brutal through the story. Romantasy, let's see. So I've had a bit of a hard time with romantasy this year. I've just not been vibing with romantasy. I've just been reading a lot of contemporary. The romantasies just feel kind of same to me. They're just very same, but let's just see what people are liking. And I'm sure a lot of these are gonna look very similar. A Crown This Cold and Heavy. Never heard of it. Of course, Sarah J. Maas. I did not read this book, but I did watch all the spoiler vlogs at the beginning of the year because I like to be in the loop, but I don't want to spend my own time reading nearly 1,000 pages of a story that I did not enjoy the first one of. Gold. I read, I think, 4 books in this series. I really liked books 1, 2, and 3 in this series. I was really intrigued by the world and our heroine and her powers and her coming into her own and like becoming a stronger woman. And the love interest was really cool and mysterious and hot and powerful. Was really into that. And then the 4th one, I got kind of bored and like our heroine, like stuff happens to her and she gets knocked down a bunch of pegs. There was a lot of focus on a side character that I literally couldn't have given 2 ishes about. Like I did not care at all. I would skip all those chapters. And then the couple gets like separated. It was just like, I did not have fun with this one. So I didn't pick up 5. But maybe I should. Okay, another one that I actually read. I read The Honey Witch for Becky's witchy book club, the Black Hat Witch Coven, I think it's called. Yeah, that was really fun to read with the group and be on the live with them. I ended up giving this like 3 stars. It was a little bit sappy. At times, it's just like, oh, we're cursed to never fall in love vibes. It's sapphic, which was nice to mix it up, have that diversity and representation. But yeah, like not one of my favorite books of the year, but it's one that I read that's on the list. Oh, Touch of Chaos, Hades and Persephone's Saga. Is this the one that I own the first one of? Okay, I do have the first book of this one and I've talked to you about it too many times, so let's not rehash my shame for the fact that I haven't read it, but I'm definitely not, I wouldn't have been able to read book 4, like that's a lot. Born of Blood and Ash, Flesh and Fire #4, Jennifer L. Armentrout. I'm so agitated by this series. I read up to book 4 in the Blood and Ash series, and I just felt like Jennifer L. Armentrout had no idea where the story was going. I felt like she was just making ish up as she went, you know? Like I want to trust the author in the direction she's taking the story, and there was this big mystery on like what's Poppy's deal, like the main character. What is her power? What is her origin? Like what makes her special? Da 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 da. And I just felt like the revelations were kind of coming through, but then they would be taken back and like new things would be made up to be like, no, she's this, no, she's that, she's this, and that. I'm like back and forth, like make up your mind. Like it wasn't making sense. The logic was so flimsy. I was agitated by that. And then it was like, oh, you have to read this other series she's writing at the same time that is like hundreds of years into the past to tell you the origin of so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's too much freaking work for something that I don't even trust the author to have fully fleshed out in her brain. Okay, it feels, I'm being kind of mean. I'm a Scorpio, I'm not, okay, I'm just being real. I would love for someone to tell me what happens in the series because I'm curious, like the mystery and the intrigue was captivating, but I just didn't think she was gonna come up with good answers. Rant over. When the Moon Hatched was obviously very popular this year and a lot of booktubers were reading it. Phantasma, we don't have to go into it. We all know. I read this one. Got it from Book of the Month. Did not like it. I buddy read it with Eliza and Sam, which was fun. I thought the logic of this book and like the romance and everything, I just did not like it. I think I'm just a fantasy romance, a poser right now. not poser, but I just don't think fantasy romance is my vibe right now. Maybe next year I'll have better luck, but this year has been a bit of a fail. Quicksilver. So again, another one I saw floating around on BookTube a lot. Tori really loved this one, but my friend Eliza hated it, and she really likes fantasy romance. So originally I had it taken out from KU and I was planning on reading it. It's very long, but once Eliza told me she didn't like it, I was like, all right, maybe not. But I was gonna read it because I knew it was gonna be on this list. I knew it was gonna be on this list. Zodiac Academy 9, I was supposed to do a whole reading of this series this year, and I read point 5. I had already read book 1 in 2023, and I never got around to continuing after that. I was gonna reread book 1 and then continue on, and I just never did. Because I think I got maybe 2 months behind on the schedule with like the group. It was like supposed to be this Discord buddy read thing with Meredith's channel. Sam was gonna do it too, and I think me and Sam got a little bit behind, and then we kind of were just like, yes, this is kind of hard to keep up with. And we never did. But maybe I will still read them anyway, just because they sound fun and intriguing, even though the first one was super toxic and there was like zero romance in it. But the intrigue and the world building, I actually really enjoyed. I really liked it. So yeah, maybe this is the fantasy romance, there's not really romance in it, in the first book at least, that I could get into. Fantasy. Let's just talk about the ones I'm interested in. Scrolling through quickly, Five Broken Blades. I know Eliza didn't like that, I'm pretty sure. Okay, Emily Wilde's book 2. I read the first one for my IRL book club and did not like it. I did not like Emily as a character. Did I like anything? Okay, and those are all the ones I feel like talking about in this category. Science fiction. I hope some of the books that I really enjoyed this year, at least one, I can only think of one, that I really want on this list. Let's see if it's here. Ooh, The Ministry of Time's on here. Hated that. I hard DNF'd it and I had to look up spoilers. What else? Yay! Annie Bot is on here. Yes! This is definitely getting my vote. So freaking good. If you haven't read Annie Bot, I'm gonna play it cool, okay? I'm gonna play it cool, but you should read it. It's fantastic. It's about a robot woman who is taking care of this man. Very familiar setup. Obviously, he uses her as a sex robot because he's a man, and what else is he gonna do with the beautiful robot? But I think just the way it was written was so special, and you can just feel like the subtle female rage that's in it, and the like microaggressions against women that can sometimes be brushed under the rug. And it was like so powerful for me emotionally. Like, I was being devastated page after page. I have a whole vlog about it. I will link it in the corner. I absolutely loved it. I think it did the trope of this setup very well and in a special way. And I love it so much. It might be my favorite book of the year. It might be my favorite book of the year. When people are gonna ask me, what are your favorite books? This is definitely gonna have to be added to the list. It's so good. I'm so happy. I don't even care about these other ones. Oh, I have read Beautyland as well. I read this for my family book club. This was the last book we read until the book club kind of like ran out of steam. And this was okay. It's like kind of weird. I didn't dislike it because it was kind of weird. I just don't think it was that interesting personally. It was very slice of life. So this is about this human baby as they grow up, but they're not really human. Like, they're born of a human, but for whatever reason, they're like an alien. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what the point of the story was. It was just very slice of life. I don't know. I just was kind of bored. So didn't particularly like it. Maybe I'd give it like a 3, 2.5. Horror, I don't read any horror, but we can just like fly through it. Stephen King, we're not surprised. I saw that around. This weird Daviola cover is scary. Seen that around. The Book of Witching I've seen around, and none of the other ones are super familiar. So I don't read any horror. Don't come to me for horror. Debut novels is its own category. That's interesting. And The Ministry of Time is here again because it needs to be on this list twice. Interesting. Oh, How to End a Love Story's on here again. Bunch of repeats because that's necessary. What's the point of this category if you're gonna have repeats? I feel like they shouldn't do repeats. Audiobooks. What does this mean? Why is audiobook a category? Isn't a book usually gonna have like a written version and an audiobook, so this is just gonna be repeats again? Or do they ever have books that are exclusively audiobooks? Maybe. I'm not aware of any audiobook exclusives, so it's not a world that I'm super versed in, but I imagine there are gonna be a lot of repeats here. Just the book covers aren't rectangle anymore, they're square, so you know that they're audiobooks. Young adult, let's just look to be curious. I don't read young adult much. This cover, The Poisons We Drink, is a cool cover. Wisteria, I know people were going crazy about. Reckless, people are going crazy about. Dragon Fruit's a YA. Ruthless Vows is a YA? Is it? Okay, I'm surprised by that. I didn't know that was YA. Young adult fiction in general. Better Than the Movies, book 2. The Reappearance of Rachel Price I've seen around. Heartstopper. Okay, not interested in YA. I'm so sorry. Non-fiction. Disney High. Ooh, that actually sounds interesting. I didn't grow up watching Disney because my parents didn't have that package, but I'd go to my neighbor's house and sometimes we'd watch Disney and I felt like it was the rich people channel. Just looking through. There's always like these books that kind of look like vaginas, I feel like. Let's go to memoir. I didn't read any memoirs this year. Well, actually, that's not true. I didn't read any new release memoirs this year, but we've got RuPaul's book on here. How did that do? I am not surprised Meg with Books read RuPaul's memoir. She always memes RuPaul's Drag Race clips for her videos. And then the last one, History and Biography, I definitely haven't read. So this is a bit of a want ending. All right, so we've gone through the list. I haven't read too many of them, but I've read a few. And my favorite book was on there, Annie Bot. I really hope it scores well. And if you haven't read it yet, just read it and then vote for it, okay? Do me a favor. There were also a ton of books that I physically own but haven't read yet on this list, so I am that much more excited to get to them, and we'll see if I end up reading them before the calendar turns over into 2025 and it's no longer relevant to this Goodreads selection period. And then the few that I did read, too many of them I didn't like, which is a bit of a shame. Am I a miserable person? I don't think so, but I am not reflecting that well in some of these reviews. I do love reading, but again, I feel like I find myself reading a lot more backlist books, a lot of random indie Kindle unlimited books, and those don't tend to make this list, which is totally fine. And I think it's kind of cool to read the mainstream books, but also read whatever you feel like. Because reading is just supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and maybe you can learn something from it here and there. All right, that's all I have for this video. I hope you had fun hanging out with me for a bit and seeing my reactions to the Goodreads Choice Awards list. If you did, please feel free to leave this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it, and obviously it helps out my channel. And I will catch you in another video. Bye!